Okay guys, so I'm out here today to do some fishing with the new hottest reel of the moment in the bait finesse world, and that of course is going to be the Flight Feather Cormorant. Now if you'll notice, this particular reel is right-handed, so that means that these reels are now available in both left and right hand. At the time when NACO sent me the first Cormorant, only left hands were available. But they kindly sent me a right-handed version recently, so now we get to do some fishing. Now, I've mounted the Cormorant on my new favorite trout magnet rod. Of course, that's the LEWS Plume, 6 foot. I have 2-pound fluorocarbon, spooled probably not even halfway. And of course, since I'm using the trout magnet rod, we're going to be starting off with a trout magnet. So we're going to see what this Cormorant can do with the 1 gram trout magnet, and of course that means we're going to set this reel up. Now I did manage to take the left-handed model fishing one time and I only caught 1 fish, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you that fish catch while I'm setting this reel up. Got something. I think it is a crappie. Oh shit. He's pulling drag. Hopefully you guys saw that. I don't think it's a skipjack. Might be a bass. Crappies usually don't fight this hard. It's a bass. Looks like a spotted bass. Oh, look at the bend on this LEWS Plume. Is that a smallmouth? Could that be a smallmouth? I think it's a smallie. Holy shit. I can't tell if this is a smallmouth or a spot or a hybrid. Put up a awesome fight on this ultralight gear. Super fun as always. Fun fight nonetheless. Okay, so you can see by that footage that both the Cormorant and the LEWS Plume easily handled that probably 1.5 pound spotted bass. It was a fun fight, and you can see the drag was going off. It was really smooth, easy startup. And while I'm fishing, I'm going to be talking about, I guess, my experience and what I think of this Cormorant. So let's get started. Now, of course, I got my spool tension set to just minimize the side-to-side play and loosen just a hair. And I'm starting with the brakes on number 24. Now with the Cormorant, as well as the original Flight Feather, the numbers go by, I guess, increments of 6. So you get 0, 6, 12, 24, and then it maxes out at 30. So we're going to start off at 24. This is based on my first time taking out the left-handed model. So let's start casting. Alright, so with such a light spool, obviously casting this 1 gram trout magnet is a breeze. And the good news is brakes are very strong. They're actually kind of pulling the lure off to the left just slightly. So that means I can actually back him down a little bit. Well, actually, we're gonna go down to number 18. Now my right-handed model is buttery smooth. Okay, now by backing the brakes down and just doing an overhead, easy overhead cast, I'm getting out there probably at least close to 40 foot. Boom, look at that. That is going probably well over 40 foot, probably close to 45 foot right there. With a sidearm cast at probably 80% effort. And the spool is still controlled. I actually might be able to go down just a little bit. So this Cormorant, its brakes are extremely powerful. We're set up to about, I guess, midway. So we have half of the brake settings still available if we need them. Boom, look at that. Now, one thing I found out about this plume is that I don't like how soft it is for having to jig these kind of plastics, but it is what it is. I'm gonna have to just adjust and adapt. All right, let me see here. But yeah, the 1 gram trout magnet, flight feather cormorant, brakes are behaving perfectly, and I went down half a setting. So we're in between 12 and 18. And we're gonna try to eke out as much distance as we can. Try to get out there towards the center. And if I need to, I'm gonna switch up to a heavier jig head. Ooh, wow. So that was, I guess, a little too much adjusting of the brakes. So we had a nice little overrun there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it up to almost 18. Almost 18, and that should be right on the limit, but we have plenty of braking power in reserve, plenty. Let's just hope that we can catch some fish. All right, how to blow up there. So I think 18. I think 18 is going to be the limit. Now I am casting harder than I was before, but yeah, right now everyone is heading to these trout stocking areas, so it's pretty much just wall-to-wall fishermen trying to catch trout. Normally that's where I'd be too, but I don't want to have to deal with that hassle. Oh yeah, there we go. So with the sidearm cast, we see a couple of loops of overrun that work itself out. So we are definitely on the limit of brakes. So I'm happy to say that these brakes are very, very strong. All right, so we've upgraded to the heavier Swolfie jig head. I've done a video on these jig heads in the past if you want to check out my video list, but this particular jig head weighs, I think, 1 gram. So it adds about 0.2 of a gram to the weight of a trout magnet. And believe me, that's significant. So we should be able to cast a few feet farther now and easier as well. I think I can turn the brakes down a little bit. And if this doesn't work, we're going to go to the crappie magnet. Yes, we probably are getting probably close to another 5 foot. Boom, look at that. So yeah, this cormorant is just manhandling the trout magnet like it was nothing. Like a normal bait caster would cast probably a 1/4 ounce. But can we get some bites? Boom. Look at that. Oh, am I stuck on the same? I gotta remember there's something there, right there, that keeps getting me hung up. Try to avoid that spot, but usually the fish are in this area. Pow, look at that. That's probably reaching close to 50 foot on that cast. And the reel is so refined, as it should be for the cost. I know a lot of you guys are gonna scoff at, you know, the asking price for this reel. It's over 200 bucks. But, I mean, you're not gonna be able to knock it as far as performance and build quality. This reel is solid. So is this the easiest reel to cast a trout magnet with in my experience? So to answer that question, I'm gonna have to try to remember all the reels I've tested the trout magnet with. The standouts are of course the 20 Alphas Air, that Black Knight 2, and of course the 22 ALDEBARAN. And once again, this is just based off my memory, but yeah, this is probably the reel that has casted the trout magnet the easiest and the farthest out of the box. And not even casting it on, you know, that Queen Teton. Oh, got some action. It's not the species I wanted, but it is a fish. Looks like what, a bluegill? Okay, so we switched up to a pure white trout magnet. Hopefully this will get more attention than that other color, which was like a mix of gray and white. And yeah, let's start casting. So I'll have to say, we are blessed today to have so many options of bait finesse reels that can easily cast a trout magnet, because just a few years ago there was none, at least not out of the box, that could do it so easily. You'd have to modify your reels, spend a lot of money on them, but now you can go on AliExpress and get a budget BFS reel that will cast a trout magnet no problem. I mean, look at that. It's so easy. Now, I was expecting performance like this out of the, you know, KASTKING Kestrel Elite when that came out, but the brakes on that reel kept pulling the trout magnet off to the left, no matter how low I went. Now, incidentally, it looks like over in China they have an updated version of the Kestrel Elite. Looks like it's got different knobs, and I think they may have addressed the overly powerful brakes on that reel, maybe. So who knows when that's going to be unveiled on AliExpress, or if KASTKING America plans on bringing it over here, but that's just what I saw. Boom, look at that. All right, we're gonna give it about 5 more casts. I'm gonna fan cast around, and then we're gonna opt for the heavier crappie magnet. We should be able to really bomb that lure out there. Probably run out of line, but somebody flying a drone out here. That reminds me, I bought a new drone because my previous one crashed into the lake, but I need to use it more. I need to bring it out here. Come on, crappie. Yeah, guys, that That cast, as well as some of these others, are hitting around 50 foot, maybe a little bit over. All right, we'll do one more cast out this way, then we're going to switch up the lure. All right, so we've upgraded to a crappie magnet with a crappie magnet jig head in bright yellow. Maybe this will trigger some bites, but we're probably looking at over 2 grams, maybe 2.5 grams total lure weight. So we should be able to absolutely launch this out there. So let's see. All right, we are getting out there. Not as far as I thought. Now, these crappie magnets, they do tumble. They do helicopter through the air, and that's definitely going to limit the distance. Now, when I was fishing the left-handed model with the Lucky Craft Pointer 48, which weighs about the same as this lure, it was really easily launching that lure well over 70 feet in my estimation. Okay, gonna turn these brakes down just a little, in between 12 and 18. Got a pretty decent overrun there, so I'm gonna turn it up just a hair, but we're probably getting 25 yards on these casts. All right, I guess 18 is the best setting. Now, if I remember correctly, my experience with the original Flight Feather, the blue and orange one, was that I really couldn't go down on the brakes that much. I might have to retry that reel, but yeah, I really couldn't go down on the brakes that much. You know, casting 1.5 grams. So maybe they did something with this Cormorant. But also, I could barely see the number, so that's the thing too. Oh, there's a hit. Is this a bass? I think this is a bass. It's pulling drag. Pulling a lot of drag. This can't be a crappie. Is it a crappie? Yeah, it is. This is the hardest fighting crappie I've ever caught. Oh yes, success. This is what we came for. Screw the trout, we came for slabs. Okay, so one more cast, and as I'm working this lure in, boom. Let's go over my initial impressions on this Cormorant reel. Now, the best way I can sum it up is that if you slapped on a Shimano badge, a DAIWA badge, GARCIA badge, any kind of mainstream badge onto this reel and just fished it, you wouldn't know that this is, you know, some smaller Chinese brand. The reel is worth the price, especially for the out-of-the-box performance. Okay, a couple more casts. Especially for the out-of-the-box performance that it gives you, being able to easily cast 1 gram, probably even less, like they're claiming, but it's got the line capacity to hold enough line to bomb out long casts with heavier lures. I mean, I have plenty of line capacity left. Nope, I'm snagged. But yeah, this thing, everything about it is refined and solid, which you can't really say about a lot of the Chinese reels, especially coming out of AliExpress. But yeah, everything about this reel is refined and solid and quiet. Build tolerances are top notch. And even for the higher price they're asking for this reel, it's definitely worth it. Now, this is not the last you're going to see of the Cormorant. NACO Fishing specifically asked me to take this out on the casting field and do battle with the best of the best. So that means it's going to go up against the ALDEBARAN BFS, maybe the Conquest BFS, maybe the SS Air from DAIWA, maybe even the Alphas. And we're going to see if it can actually keep up or maybe even outcast those proven top JDM reels. So be on the lookout for that. All right, guys, thanks a lot.